starting my own website and my own podcast, I kind of came to this vivid realization that all of a sudden I'm on the other side of the camera. You know, for 20 years I'm an editor, and I'm always editing other people's performances, and I had never in 20 years really spent much time in front of a camera. So like when I started doing my own promos and things like that, all of a sudden I felt like this intimidation that I did not expect. And then because of who I am, I just immediately started questioning, well, why is that? Why? Like, I understand this process from top to tail. Like, why am I feeling uncomfortable in front of the camera? And then I started kind of doing some research, and it turns out that it's just like it's basic mental conditioning. You know, if you think about when you were a toddler and you were first learning to speak, you know, perhaps your mom or your dad would introduce you to one of their friends, and they would say, you know, hey, Wyatt, say something. You know, what did you have for breakfast this morning or whatever? And as baby Wyatt, you were intimidated by talking in front of somebody, and it was a skill that you had to learn and you had to build up to, just talking to other people. You know, certainly I remember I was a very shy child myself, and it's funny now because like I have absolutely no problem, you know, meeting new people and talking to them, and breaking the ice. But when I think back, I was like really shy and bashful as a child, and so the research kind of shows that like it's a conditioning thing. You know, like we are completely uncomfortable with the very specific situation of having a lens pointing at us and like seeing that red light blinking, you know, indicating that it's recording and everything. And all of a sudden our mind is like, hey, I've never done this before. What's going on? And it just kind of recalls those same, you know, feelings that you would have as a child and put into an uncomfortable position. Right. So it's just a matter of getting yourself comfortable, and it's doing some exercises, you know, and like part of it, I think, is very, much just understanding the process that's going on in your head. You know, like a lot of people will turn on the camera, they'll maybe, you know, record a quick little message to the camera, and then they'll play it back and they're like, oh, that's terrible. And they're reacting to things that they're just not used to, Wyatt. You know, for example, the majority of people, the vast majority of people will listen to their voice and be like, oh, I sound terrible. And the reason you have that reaction is not because you sound terrible. I mean, if you think about it, you talk to other people all the time, and how many times have they complained about the quality of your voice, right? Like never. So it's not that you sound terrible, it's that you don't sound like what you're used to hearing, because the bone structure in your skull will kind of alter the audio that comes out of your mouth. So like, you know, the your skull and the bones in your head kind of tweak the audio before it gets to your inner ear, where your, you know, auditory nerves pick it up and interpret that sound as spoken words. So like the voice on the camcorder or your, you know, iPad or whatever that you're using to record, or whatever that you're using to record, that audio sounds very different from what you're used to, and you just have this basal negative reaction to it. It's wrong. It doesn't sound right. And the same thing with when you look at yourself on camera, it's not what you're used to seeing, because you look at yourself in a mirror, which is a flipped image. It's a you know, when you look at the mirror, the image is actually reverse from what everybody else sees when they look at you. So when you look at yourself on camera, you're looking at a, you know, the correct image as opposed to a mirror flipped image. And you have this basic reaction of, oh, that doesn't look right. Something's wrong. I hate this. I'm never going to do this again.